Of course, when you're writing a screenplay, we were talking before we got started that you can't write down the character's internal monologue, what they're thinking. You don't spend a lot of time on scenery or any of that. You're just going to say interior, exterior, and then get to the dialogue. So, what was the hardest part of transitioning for you to novel writing, and what was also the maybe the most freeing part?
Well, I didn't think it was the hard part until my editor pointed it out, but a lot of my first draft was written in a fairly distant third person voice, the way I've been trained to do as a screenwriter, where I can only talk where I can only show what people do and what they say in the setting they're in, and very briefly. And so it's emotionally distancing. When people first read a screenplay, they're difficult to read because you don't yet have the muscle to be watching the movie you're reading and anticipating what actors do, because the actors bring the emotion. So I had to be taught by my editor basically to get much closer to my characters and break all these rules that had been sacred to me for 30 years. And once I started doing it and got it, oh my goodness, it was so liberating. I loved it. I loved being able to talk about what was in their heads and in their hearts and in their bellies as things happened to them. You know, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. I don't think I went far enough. Maybe I did. I don't know. If you felt the emotions you were feeling at the beginning of the book, then I succeeded at some point, to some extent. But
Oh, felt emotions throughout. We're just not talking about the later book.
yeah. we can if you want, but it's just that the people who've read the book so far, you know, they phone me and go, "You did not, you know, I did not see that," and so I always loved that in a book, not knowing what was coming and being surprised. So anyway, but I'm just loving. I love my characters. I have a character in this book who is my favorite, and I never thought she would be. She just kind of grew, and I love her. And bad things happen to her too, and she survives them, not undamaged, and she's a character I absolutely love, who I never expected to. So that's a pleasure. You know, it's just going, oh wait, this is such a rich character. I've got so much to do with her. You know, she's now definitely one of my main characters, even though, you know, we always go back to Tell and Ren, and their relationship to each other and to the world. I love Rumi as well. So that's been part of the fun. It's just having characters grow and start to disobey you and start to not do what you thought they were going to do that day. Because when you get to write it, it's just wrong. You know, it's just, no, she can't do that. She would never do that. So that's me trying to make a character do something she would never do that. Then I know we've got a live character there. So that's pretty cool.
I'm of the opinion, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this as well, that when you torture your characters, bad things happen to them, and you engineer terrible things to happen for them. I think that is a form of love, because you're making their story more compelling. Like, yes, it's unfortunate for you at this moment, but trust me, in the long run, you're going to be a far more interesting character because these terrible things are happening to you.
Absolutely. And I've always loved those stories, you know, of peril and, you know, peril and suffering, and make that characters making their way through that and growing their way through that. And so you're absolutely right. It is a form of love. If I didn't love them, I wouldn't bother. You wouldn't bother with all of that trouble. And life's that way, you know. Life's full of trouble. And you have to deal with it.
Yeah, I keep looking for the easy mode where you don't have to deal with the issues ever again. Doesn't seem to be an option.
I'm older than you, and I still haven't found it either. So or at least when things happen easily, it's unusual enough that you note it, right? I think some people do go through life and everything happens easily. I'm thinking of one person who thinks that life's really easy, and it really has been really easy for them, but that's only one person out of all the people I know. Everyone else has a hard time at points.
Is it Matt Damon? No, I'm teasing.
No, I don't know if his life is easy or not. He's a good guy though. So